Okay, I'm getting ready to do some surface prep work. Now on the last video, I explained that these are standard 3-inch I-beams, 5.7 pounds per foot. They also make another 3-inch I-beam, which is heavier. It's 3 inches high. In the previous video, I told you it was 3 15/16 wide, but it's not. I was incorrect. It's 3 5/16 inches wide. Okay, what I'm going to do is prep the metal. I'm just going to clean off the edge. The angle iron is almost as wide as the flange when you lie it on top. So I'm just going to take off 1/4 of an inch or so along both edges all the way to the ends. I don't want to sand the whole surface off because that's unnecessary, and that would end up killing the sanding disc. These are fairly expensive and they don't last forever. The angles themselves, what I'm going to do is sand down both sides of the outside because it's a little gritty, and when I roll the roller over it, I can feel like crunch and stuff, so it's not quite as smooth as I'd like it. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I am done with my sanding. I did that with a 120 sanding wheel. I only wanted to remove the surface dust or the surface rust, and it worked very well and very quickly. The beams are so heavy, they just sat on the horses and I sanded them down. The angle iron I placed between the beams, and that gave it a perfect vice-like effect. Okay, I want to show you the plans for this mill machine. Plans for slab mill machine. It's a blank piece of paper. There are no plans. I am making this up as I go along. This is going to be 4 feet by 10 feet footprint, and the capacity should be about 9 feet by 40 inches and 3.5 inches high. I'm getting ready to tack the angle iron to the flange of the I-beam. Now, I have your heavy-duty C-clamp here, and if I try to clamp the two pieces together, it's just about impossible to do this without a piece moving. So what I'm going to do is, I have these V-blocks. Now this is something you're more likely to see in a machine shop. But what I'm going to do is just place it here. I'm going to place a flat piece of stock across the block. Now I have the perfect hold down. Okay, I'm just going to center this by eye. I have about 1/8 of an inch on each side. I'm not going to bother measuring that. That would be almost impossible. And then I'm going to tack it. Tack weld it every 12 inches or so. So here is the setup. I only have 2 of these V blocks, so I'm just gonna tack them and then move them on down the line. My 2 10-foot sections are welded up. The angle iron is inverted and tacked along both pieces of 10-foot I-beam. And I cleaned up the welds, sanded them down. These beams are not taking much of a lateral load, so a tack is fine. Now this is part of the carriage assembly. You can see how nicely it moves along the track. There is a bit of leeway, in fact like almost 3/16 of an inch leeway on these rollers. But what I'm going to do is put a washer and or shims behind that to eliminate that movement. Now this was a fairly easy weld. The most important thing is keeping the 90-degree piece, the angle iron, centered on the beam. Okay folks, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I think everything's looking so good so far.